Alright, what is going on, my fellow Marvel Rivals gamers? Today we're doing a Grandmaster Duelist VOD review. So, first off, we are starting on the Hela, right? On X-Guard. Obviously, you know how our abilities work. Right click is a volley of daggers that explode. Shift is Hela's flight, which is omnidirectional. Her E is a pull slash stun, and her left click does the damage. Alright, so here we are. Looking at our composition real quick. So we'll pause it. Looking at our composition real quick, we have a Groot, Thor, Bucky, 2, and a Luna Snow. So with that being said, and you have the mark, I would try to off angle here due to the fact that your comp is very brawly, very front to back. So by you putting yourself in a slight off angle, nothing too crazy, so where you get jumped on and abused, but at a slight off angle, you can get different angles on your team, get people low, things like that. It's just get at different angles, right? Because the Bucky's going to be playing behind your tanks. Well, he should be playing behind your tanks. But if I were you, I would get an off angle here, right? So, all right. So I put myself in this position here just so I can get like little shots between their back line, right, onto different targets. And while my team's pushing forward. If we play it slowly, see what you do here. As we come out, you're kind of playing behind your team, which is going to limit your angles, and then bang, as well as Bucky hits a hook, because Bucky is a gamer, right? What number are you? 0, okay. And now you're in immediate danger, and you have to fly out. But now you're already down a, you're already down a target. I mean a teammate. So your teammate's dead. You lost 2, so the fight's over. So your goal here should be just to basically walk forward and die. Just try to get a frag, basically, as a team here. Either get out or die. And if you're going to die, try to get a pick. So coming into this next fight, I really want you to remember that you're the off-angler here. That I don't want you just standing behind your team. I want you getting different angles. Especially since you have a mark that gives you the leeway to do such things. You hear a hook getting procced. Right click the Hulk. No? Okay, cool. I'd go far left here. Keep going left. Ooh. I'm not a big fan of this angle. You're gonna get hooked again. Oof. So, like, you're forced to use your flight there because you're putting yourself in a risky position. If I were you, I would just come this way, and I can do similar things from here. And then if I get jumped on by, like, a Hulk or something, not only does that create an opening for my team to walk in, but I can just fly away from the Hulk, right? So, like, your purpose this game, quite literally, is just to be really annoying in really weird spots. Not too weird to where you're, like, insanely out of position, but, like, you want to bring eyes to you that it takes away from your teammates, and if they don't look at you, you get picks, right? Nothing too. I want you to look at squishies more than tanks. Look, right now you're looking at tanks a lot because you're playing front to back with your team. You're gonna get caught here. Die. I think this is good. I would have saved your flight there, so you could have had the option to go up high there. But basically, just see where your team's going, see where your Bucky's going, and then just try not to go the opposite, but go a different route. I hear that. Unfortunately, he doesn't get eliminated, right? But your Bucky's up there with Thor. Throw a pool, throw a pool, throw a pool. Right there, I would throw a pool, just try to see if I can pull him more out of the into the hallway. And even if it doesn't work out, right? Like, my mentality here is I have a good idea of when he's going to transform. So I would have threw my things like you did, right? And then like, I would have thrown it with the anticipation of landing it here to try to pull him more here to maybe give me an extra shot to maybe get an elim, right? Like, I'm going for those kind of plays because I personally, as a DPS player, I want to give myself those opportunities to maybe make a play, right? By the time I would need it again, I'd probably have my stun up again. The only person looking to stun is that Hulk, who's no longer Hulk. So right now you're kind of on the objective. Not a big fan of that. You just standing here, but as of right now, the fight's kind of basically over. Not the biggest of deals. Throw pool. The aim's there. I definitely want to see you using your kit to its full potential, though. Don't want to, remember, you don't want to be the same angle as your backliner. You're the flank character here, or off-angle character. Not your job. Leave. I'm not against this, but they do have support ults, though. They do not. So you're down one now, so now they're going to hard shove after they probably kill this Thor, if Thor doesn't get out. So I would just kite here. I would just start backing up. It could be nice to maybe get a shot in on somebody, but you don't need to. Now you're really not going to kill nothing in there. Oof. So that's the issue about not backing up early enough, is that you leave yourself open to things like that to happen, right? Because you flew away instead of walking all the way back towards where your teammates are now, and instead of continuously kiting backwards, you flew away to this off angle, and you weren't paying attention to respawns and where the Groot might go. Should Groot have gone this way? Was it a longer path? Was it a smart path? Probably not, but it doesn't matter. You die for it, right? So I would just say, if you don't have to use your flight to get out, don't use it, because you'll find yourself in a lot of situations like this where you need it and you won't have it. Alright, so we're making a switch up, which is, in my opinion, I don't like the switch up because I think Hela's just an insane character. And yeah, she's not as fast as Psylocke, but I don't think you need the speed of Psylocke. I think you just need better positioning, better off-angling, right? You gotta pick. You do really well at shredding that Hulk. Get him off your backline, but he runs out anyways. Since you're partnered up with a Magneto, I would try to play in positions to where a Magneto can enable you, or I would ask the Magneto to enable me, right? That's kind of how I would go about it. Just trying to play in ways where I can like fight aggressively and get bubbles. So I would talk to him. We're gonna play this character and just be in like I like to say, in the shits. You almost have ult though. I would be aggressive here. I'm not waiting. I'm building my own. Because I think you're beating them in terms of support ults. Oh, but you're hitting the tanks. So you guys, okay. So when we think about Psylocke, right? Like yes, you can hit everybody, you can damage everybody, but every person that's in your radius, right? That's a tick that's gonna be hit, right? So if we just draw a circle, right? Oh my gosh, this is horrible. I just draw it manually. I'm too lazy to. We draw a circle, right? Everybody who's in that circle is going to get hit. So the more people in the circle, the less damage you're going to do per individual. So basically slash. They're going to be healing that slash. Slash. They're going to be healing that slash. Slash. They're going to be healing that slash. Slash. Comparatively to where, and you had a tank in here as well earlier, right? So obviously he's not going to get bursted. But if you would have tried to isolate targets, right? Like get one or two, now it's slash, slash, slash. It's a lot harder to heal through that. Right, so a big thing that Psylocke get wrong, I think, is they try to just get everybody. I think that works if you have teammates that can follow up. But the way that I Psylocke ult is I'm looking for one or two, right? If I get more, that's nice, but I'm looking for one or two. Most likely, I'm getting one, right? And with ultimates, right? Even if you're only getting one pick, like that's enough most of the time. Now with the Rocket Raccoon, that's a little iffy because they have a res beacon, so you're gonna want to get him, right? Or you're going to want to at least get two. So even if one does get res, you still get your one, right? So that's about it. So with the rocket being played, you need two, unless you can either one, break beacon, then ult, right? Or you can get the rocket, right? So yeah. So don't always just jump in and seeing a lot of people pop your ult, because a lot of times you're just wasting it because they're going to tank it. Because they survived that without a support ult. But oh, I dashed through there. Oof. You took a little, in my opinion, took a little too long to dash through there. Also keep in mind that your shots, right? They give you your cooldowns back. So before you start dumping crazy amount of shots into people, right? You could just like dash through them, left click, right click, left click, left click, left click, right, and then dash through again probably. Because if you like dump your mag and then you right click before you go in, and then you go in, right? It's like your right click is also your sustain and things like that as well. So I personally would have dashed instantly, not giving them a chance to react and process that I was there, and just get behind him, start shooting, and if anything, I can evis out or whatever I need to do. Yeah. I think you're probably just a little too antsy here. So when it comes to positioning, right, and I like the way you went behind them, right? And we'll go back so we can like properly talk about it. But like I think where you end is more important. But as you're coming back here, right? We gotta go a little farther. Right, so we're over top, right? So we need to think about this right now. Boom. As we know that we already have an idea that they're there, right? So we want to put ourselves in a position to be annoying for as long as possible, right? So you have, in my opinion, option 1, option 2, right, and option 3. But we also have to assess the threats, right? So out of these 3 locations, and we'll use a different color, make it easier to see. 1, 2, 3. Out of these 3 locations, the riskiest ones are gonna go 3, then 1, right, and then 2 will be the safest. Why? Because we know that the enemy Bucky is eliminated, and he still has 7 seconds, so it's a while, right? So you don't have to worry about it right away. But just know, the longer you're back here, that obviously Bucky's going to either push through here or push through here. The chance that he goes through gold is extremely low. But you need to have that mindset of, if I'm going to be here for a long time, this is the best option. If I'm not going to be here for a long time, you know, like maybe up here is better because you could get a health pack. But you want to be somewhere where you can fight something, right? But then you have cover, right? Fight something, right? Be annoying, but you have cover. Fight something, right? But you have cover, right? Now you don't want to have to all in all the time, right? You want to do stuff, and then okay, I can all in, but you also want to like have choices, right? I can all in or I can chill. I can all in or I can chill. You don't want to be like, oh, I have to chill or I have to go all in. You want to have those options as a damage player. So instead of being right here and looking for a fight right here, hell, I wouldn't even be mad if you were like here, right? But then you're in front of the Namor. Maybe you're even here, right? Right, but give yourself a place, right, to play from where you can have a quick little, okay, fight. Okay, I'm cool. Get healed. I'm back in. Right? If you want to be a little deeper, that's cool with me too. You have a health pack. You have 2 health packs to work with. That's fine as well, right? But I don't like this right here where you're in the open. And you're still in the open instead of getting the cover, right? Because against better players, there might be a scenario where you try to pull this off and you're just gonna get ripped open, right? So bam, so now they're popping ults, right? So now you're not in a good position anymore. Okay, so now you're just back here and you're half off and you're gonna continuously go down because of the ult. And you would have died to the ult probably if it wasn't for that ultimate. You should shoot him, farm your ult. You know Cloak doesn't have ult? And he gets to go again. Yeah, you use 2 ults for 1 though, which sucks. I would have stayed fighting the supports. I don't think your team necessarily needed you to help here. Yeah. I would have kept fighting with the supports there. I wouldn't have rotated over to fight the tanks because even if I can't kill the supports right there, I'm pulling their attention while my team is doing other stuff. And once again, I would like to go deeper with your ultimates and make sure you're on people and you're isolated because right there you got 1 slash off. I'm pretty sure, and that's not enough. Huge pick. You look, you've already won the fight here. Oh, you're too in there, man. Oh. you're too sporadic, brother. You're like, you're not chilling, right? We got to pick. We won. We won. Why are we forcing anything, right? Like, we're coming through, right? Look, look. Boom, 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 boom. Dead, right? You've already won the fight. So now the win condition needs to be to flip the thing, right? So they're down a player, right? Which means that there is no way with just a pure fight they're winning this, right? You have the number advantage. They will have ults, right? And sadly, you're not close to your ults, right? But just burn. I would just be ready to just burn the point tank, right? Just don't be stacked on your teammates. Just help burn the point tank, or just keep people away from your team as they're burning the point tank, right? You don't got to hard commit to nothing, but just be annoying. Like, I would just stay back here. I would stay back here. I wouldn't commit to anything. Or I would commit if anything. Look, my options are commit on rocket, or just chill back here and shoot, pepper them, right? But I'm not gonna dash in here, especially because a good rocket's gonna shoot you. He's not gonna just heal bot. Yeah, we're here. Yeah, run for it. Nice, good pick. You get redstone, unfortunately, but you almost have ult. Dash again. Oh, you gotta dash again there. That's another thing too about you going in, right? Let's go back. Do we have to dash in there? Do you have to get that touch? We're here, right? Are you low one up right now? Probably are. Unfortunate. So, we'll go to the notes. But before we go to the notes, I want to say a few things. Do I think that you needed to switch off a Hella? No, I don't think so. I think Hella was perfectly fine. I think Hella, you could have carried the game with the Hella. There was no need to switch off. But not saying your switch was bad, but Hella's just one of the best characters in the game. So, like, why switch off when you don't have to, right? You're just going to adjust your playstyle. Now to the notes, now to the notes. All right, so the notes for today, right? So, number one is knowing when to play on your team versus off angling. So there will be plenty of times, even when you're an off angle character, that sometimes playing on your team is okay or is needed. But I think a lot of the time, especially in the rank we're in, especially with the skill of not only our teammates, right, but the enemies that we play against, um, off angling is so, it'll always be strong, but in our rank, it's so strong because even in GM, people are oblivious, right? So I really want you to start figuring out when you should be off angling. And the number one thing that will tell you if you off angle or not is your team comp, right? Sometimes people can really mistake Psylocke, like the fact that you have a Psylocke is okay. Psylocke's your off angler, but actually Psylocke's really good at burning tanks. So even if you had a Psylocke Hella, sometimes your Hella's still your off angler, right? But your Psylocke is your main lane DPS because Psylocke just spits out DPS, right? And sometimes it's not about the mobility, right? But it's more so about what they can accomplish with their kit. That's why a lot of times if you see me or see anybody else play Star-Lord, right, we'll play out of the main lane for the most part, so we can farm our own, so we can put pressure on the main lane, right? Because if you're playing into a Helen Namor or whatever, and you're trying to flank around, you're putting yourself in a position, in a sense, to basically lose a fight because Hela and Namor should just beat the Star-Lord if they're better. So why would I put myself in that position? Comparatively, if I can put my Hela against a Hela, my Namor against a Namor, and I can do something where I can be more effective. So in this game, in a sense, right, Bucky is going to be a lot better into tanks. Why? Because if Bucky shoots a tank and he doesn't have a shield, the shot is going to hit the tank and it's going to cone and shoot through the tank and hit people behind. Therefore, Bucky does more of that area damage, and Bucky has a hook to punish tank positioning, right? So you want Bucky to be in that main lane. Comparatively, when you're the Hela, when you're hitting somebody, you're hitting one single target for a lot of burst, right? But you're just never gonna output the same amount of consistent damage as other DPS. So I would rather have you on an off angle. So if you hit, comparatively, you're hitting a tank with 4 shots, and being effective, right? You can technically hit a squishy with 2 shots and just end the fight in a sense. So just keep that in mind when you're playing. Just look at your comp, think about what the DPS can do, right? And then based off of that, you can be, hey, can you just farm tanks? I'm gonna off angle here, or whatever. Try to communicate. If they don't listen, obviously adjust your play style, right? But for the most part, people are gonna just run down main, and you can kind of choose how you want to play. Number two, sometimes doing less is doing more. I think sometimes people get caught up in the idea that being active is just being more active is it means that we're playing better, but in all reality, it doesn't. There's a thing called I like to call passive pressure, which means by even when you're not like, actively doing something, you're still applying pressure to the team, whether it's you're in a position they have to respect, whether it's you've hit a couple shots, right, and you've rotated away but they're so afraid of you because they don't know if you rotated away yet, yada yada, things like that. Or just knowing when you've already won the fight, so just keeping it simple, right? So that you don't overextend or do anything that'll get you eliminated, right? Because sometimes, um, not only you but people will have the advantage in a fight and they'll try to do too much and then they throw it away, and that's not good. And then number three is being more willing to give space, right, as well as wait abilities out. If you know that they're coming back and they have a lot of ults and they're gonna dump everything to retake, it's kind of like you've played Val, you've played Seed. I know you personally, right? So if you know that they're gonna dump utility at your area, do you want to sit in that area and hope you come out on top? No. If we're playing Val and you know that they're gonna dump all these ultimate abilities on site, or they're gonna, let's say you're playing Cypher, right? You've probably played Cypher. You're playing Cypher and they have a KO ult. Are you gonna sit on site and let KO ult you? No, you're not, right? So if you know they're gonna dump ults as they're retaking, why would you sit in a position to just be affected by them? Let them use it, right? Play in a position where they have to use it, right? But you're far enough back to when they do use it, you're okay, right? And yeah, with that being said, right? Oh, and then to top that off, right? Waiting abilities out. So like basically, when they do pop those ults, just being okay with waiting them out, right? And with that being said, that's gonna be the end of this VOD review. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully everybody else who's been watching has enjoyed and learned something as well. And without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.